Hey guys, it's PoxiiPatron. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a quick little patch notes overview of the Season 4 update called Locked and Loaded. So just for the TLDR, the very quick highlights, we have the scoreboard is going to be starting 100 ranks per usual, and there's going to be some new rewards that we didn't see in the previous seasons, along with previous awards that we have seen in the previous seasons. After level 25, you can then unlock special loadouts, so you can get 2 special loadouts and change your perk cards, and it's pretty much like 2 different custom saves that you can make. Now you can have 2 camp slots, and I don't know if they're going to be adding more of this in the future, and the same thing with like the special perk cards, but for now you have 2 of each, and yeah, so now you can have 2 homes or 2 camps. Player vending machines and display cases are now streamlined, so they can be used inside your shelters. And with vending machines, I believe all vending machines share the same inventory now. Daily Ops has a new game mode called Decryption, and there's still like random enemies, random mutations, and locations. And they made some UI improvements as well, and they even added an aim assist option in the settings, and a batch crafting slider at workbenches, and a big update for the world activity menu. And that's pretty much it for the TLDR, and now I'm pretty much going to dive into the more of the details. This is what the patch size looks like, depending on what platform you play. Alright, so Season 4, and this is going to be Power Patrol themed, and they're fighting off against Yukon 5, and it is 100 ranks. They have new rewards, which includes like power armor paints, weapon skins, outfits, themed cosmetics, camp items, in-game currencies, consumables, perk card packs, and more. And they have prior season rewards, like the Antique Speed Bag, the Perfect Bubblegum, and Mortimer in the Crater, Samuel in the Foundation. You can now purchase these guys with gold bullion. So I guess if you miss out on the past season, you can now spend in-game gold bullion to buy some of the rewards that you might have missed. And it looks like Fallout First members have bonus rewards at certain ranks in the scoreboard. During this patch, they also released mannequins, which are pretty much display cases to show off outfits, headwear, under armor, backpacks that you've collected, and even power armor as well. You can claim the male and female mannequins at your camp by reaching rank 25 on the scoreboard, so they're not available right off the bat, but they're more of a scoreboard reward. And you can have up to 5 mannequins in your camp and shelters at once, so they can be built in your shelters, which is pretty cool. Next, we're going to quickly talk about special loadout. So they're going to have these punch card machines, which is pretty much like the loadout machine that you can use. I believe they're going to be at train stations, and you can also build it in your camp, but you do have to at least be level 25. So if you're not level 25, I think you might still be able to use them at the different train stations, but you just don't unlock the plan to build it at your camp until 25. And in the build menu, it's going to be in the crafting tab. Yeah, so it's all here at the train stations. There's also one at Crater and Foundation. You can also use the punch card machines at other players' camps. So if you're not level 25 yet, there's still a lot of solutions for you to use the special loadouts. And there's no longer moving a point option, since special loadouts will allow you to pretty much move your stats for free. Alright, next we're going to talk about camp slots. So essentially you can construct 2 full camps with camp slots, each being in one of the slots out of 2 slots total. So that gives you 2 camps. So one of your slots will already be filled with your current camp, and then you can make a new camp and put that in the second slot. You can rename them and even choose their map icon. So like on the map, people will see whatever icon you select. And you can even disable the visibility of your camp to other players or enable it. You can only have 1 active camp at a time, and the other one will be stored, and then you can switch between them. I guess you can still see your inactive camp on the map, but the active one will be gold. People cannot see stored camps unless it is your store camp. So having a powered vending machine no longer puts the vendor icon on your camp's location. You have to manually enable this in the camp slots menu, which I kind of like because some of the vending machines were cool for decoration when powered. Stored camps are pretty much inactive, so they're not going to be like generating anything if there's a resource generator on it, unless it's activated. Next, we're going to talk about vending machines and display cases. So vending machines have the shared inventory across all your camps, and they have also merged all vending machine item slots into a single pool, but I believe they increased the maximum number of items just so that it kind of compensates for having multiple machines. Camp items like refrigerators and fermenters also share their inventories across different camps. Display cases, however, are not shared across camps, which will give you the ability to show off different items at each of your homes. We also added the ability to display cases and vending machines inside your shelters. Vending machines in shelters will share the same slots and items assignments as those you built in your camps. That's pretty cool. Display cases you build inside shelters will allow you to assign different items from any displays you may have in your camp. Finally, they've made adjustments so that items you place in your display cases will no longer consume any of your camp build budget. I think this is a major thing for builders because before, like, display case items would take up a lot of budget. So like if you had like a magazine holder or just like a bunch of weapons displayed, like it would take up a big chunk of your budget. But now, you don't even have to worry about that. Next, let's talk about daily ops. So they have a daily ops expansion with the new game mode Decryption. In Decryption, you're on a mission to disable 3 radio interceptors from Vernon Dodge. So for this, you have to kill and hunt 3 enemies called code carriers, and then when you take them down, you get a code, and you use those codes to disable the radio interceptor. Enemy waves that you face will become more difficult after each interceptor you disable until you finally kill the daily op boss and pull the plug on the final interceptor. And it looks like they have some new mutations as well. So there's a default mutation called Savage Strike, which makes their attacks more deadly and cause them to ignore your armor resistances. So it's pretty much giving Decryption enemies armor penetration, which is kind of crazy. Because armor penetration is actually really strong. The first thing I think of is those gutsies that shoot, those like military gutsies that have a little machine gun, and when they shoot you, it hits really hard because they have armor penetration. So, you know, Decryption enemies are probably going to be pretty difficult to face. They've also added a couple new mutations to the randomized pool that can apply to any enemies in any daily ops mode. So this is not specific to just Decryption. So they have group regeneration, so enemies heal and group together. Swift-footed is enemies have extra fast movement speed and melee attack speeds. Toxic blood, on death, enemies leave behind poisonous hazard pools. Okay, interesting. I think Toxic Blood is going to be pretty strong, just because there's not many ways to resist poison in this game. It kind of reminds me of like when you're fighting the Murder Queen and like she shoots her poison at you, like there's not much counterplay, and the dot tends to do a decent amount of damage. So I think Toxic Blood and Savage Strike is going to be pretty strong in terms of killing you. Then they have some new enemy types. They've added Scorched, Mothman Cultists, and Mole Miners to the pool of random enemies. Very nice. Always adds more variety. I'm all down for that. And they also added a couple new maps for the daily ops, so you can fight in Vault 96, Watoga Raider Arena, and West Tech. Okay, that sounds pretty cool. They also updated some rewards, so they're adding a host of new rewards, including this new Covert Scout Armor. It's gonna be a grind. Grind doesn't stop, guys. Which has some built-in stealth utility, so it sounds like if you're gonna be going for the Covert Scout Armor, you might be a collector for the new armor stands. You know, you can display this armor, or it might help you for your build if you're doing something stealth-related. They're also adding plans for the Unstoppable Monster and Medical Malpractice, legendary weapons, and a variety of new plans for objects you can build in your camp. I don't know what these legendary weapons are, actually. Let me see. Okay, so the Unstoppable Monster is a Deathclaw Gauntlet. Prefix Bloodied. So it's a bloodied power attack damage Cavalier's Unstoppable Monster. So I guess it's a like a unique Deathclaw Gauntlet. So I think maybe it always drops like this. And before it was available in some sort of challenge, but now you can actually get it through daily ops. So this is kind of good for all those melee users. If you're doing like a melee bloodied build, the Deathclaw Gauntlet is probably going to be pretty good. Alright, next we have a pistol. This one is also like a preset one that had a challenge, but now you can probably get it through daily ops. So it's a Medics VATS Enhance revolver. It's a 44 pistol. Okay, interesting. And here it looks like they increased the chance of getting a rare reward. Next, we're going to do some additional design updates. So we have combat, some melee attack updates. They've implemented a couple fixes and tweaks to improve melee combat in terms of like in terms of actually like confirming your hit when you go into melee. Because sometimes it feels like the hitbox or just the hit registration is really weak with melee weapons. And hopefully this makes the daily op feel a lot better, the resilient daily ops. Next, we have some events. We have a Hunt for the Treasure Hunter. Keep an eye on our community calendar for upcoming Hunt for the Treasure Hunter weekends, because Treasure Hunter mole miners have found some new loot that you can claim for yourself. So it looks like they updated the loot pool. So it looks like May 6th to May 10th, they're going to have a Hunt for the Treasure Hunter weekend, and then that is going to be, with a new loot pool. Here in the user interface, they've added aim assist for people who are using controllers. Batch crafting, so it's like bulk crafting now. And this works for the forge, cook, manufacturing, assembling, when you're working at a crafting workbench. So it looks like they added it for majority of the workbenches, if not all of them. World activity updates. The world activity menu now includes more than daily ops. It'll also help you stay up to date with many more activities in the world. So I think people were concerned that sometimes when events popped up, you wouldn't really get like a good notification for it. So I guess now they have nuke zones, events, nearby players, vending machines are all accessible in the world activity updates. Next, we have improvements and bug fixes. I'm just going to go through this very briefly. If you're interested, this link will be in the description and you can read these more in depth, but I'm kind of just going to do a really quick overview. Looks like essentially they did a bunch of different power armor fixes right here. Just a lot of like visual graphical sort of fixes, so nothing like too game breaking from what it seems like. And then with camps and workshops, they did a couple build fixes, but it looks like it's just like UI stuff with the building. And then with budget, they fixed some issues with storage and build limit. Apparently the gold collectron station was taking up more budget or less budget, but now it is on par with all the other collectrons. They fixed an exploit here where people were stacking bonuses from furniture buffs. Stairs with posts can now be stacked on top of themselves, which will allow players to construct multi-level 2x1 staircases without needing to use standalone posts. That might be interesting. Then we have some challenges. So daily ops enemies like cultists, blood eagles, robots, and etc. now correctly progress daily challenges that require the players to kill a specific type of enemies. So does this mean like if you kill them in daily ops, now it actually like counts? I think is how that works, maybe. Either that or it's vice versa, like killing them outside of daily ops now counts. But I think that way always worked. Then we have some daily op fixes. Some enemies had lower defenses, but that's been fixed. When you TP back, you'll TP back to the spot that you once were at instead of the last fast travel location you were at. Once the daily op's complete, respawning will be disabled in terms of enemy respawning, and all the enemies that remain will be destroyed. Okay. The eye bombs will have a new sound before they, so that players can be more warned. They made some layout improvements, I guess, on the map of the burning mine and the burrows to reduce disorientation. They fixed some UI stuff on the operation report. They fixed a bug with the resilient enemies not dying from a valid melee attack. Interaction speed with the uplink is increased. Uplink mode in the burning mine, enemies spawn properly now. And then we have a bunch of items. They have done some apparel, some armor fixes, headwear, and a couple things, quite a few things with power armor. And then a couple things with weapons. All of these just seem mostly visual. And then we have performance and stability, which is something that I always like to see because for some reason Fallout 76 is really hard for my PC to run, even though I think I have a decently strong PC. So we have performance for the Xbox One, for PlayStation 4, for nuclear winter, fast traveling using a shelter entrance, and just when opening the map. Doesn't look like anything specific to PC, unfortunately. Alright, then we also have Electric Absorption Legendary perks, has a small little buff, and essentially enemy laser attacks in addition to energy attacks also work for this perk. They have some quests and events that they seem to have just made a bit easier to play through with some more like pointers and displays. We have some sounds changes, and then with a bunch of UI changes, and then some just in general world changes. But yeah, that's me pretty much it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I'm pretty hyped for Season 4. There's a lot of things that I'm interested in, and I am looking forward to. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, until next time.